what is your take on this governor's race?
Well, I had you got me thinking in a couple of different directions here. First of all, with the work that I do with the in-crowd, we're totally nonpartisan and maintain that. We don't back any political party or any candidate. However, I'm entitled to my personal views, and I have personal views. One is, I think that the Charlie Crist is far and away the best person running for governor now. Not putting anybody else down. I know there was another lady who dropped out, but not putting anybody down. I say that he's not only the best, the strongest candidate, but he is also the person who can govern the best. He's reasonable. He's rational. He's completely objective, and he's an intelligent guy, and he's a human being. Even when he was a Republican governor, he wasn't anything like what we have now. So I personally 100% back Charlie Crist. So that's one thing that you made me think of. Second is coincidental and timely that right before we got on this interview, immediately before we got on this interview, I got a letter from a group that's starting here in Palm Beach County to back Charlie Crist. And they asked me if I would participate, like a lot of other people that have social platforms. And they said, say yes or no. And I wrote back to them and I said, as the in-crowd, no, I can't do it. It would not only jeopardize, but just ruin our whole idea of being. Right. And I have friends who have run, and people actually who are volunteers in the in-crowd who have run. And everybody understands we don't, we would lose our access to so many places, and also lose our, more importantly, our credibility as being people who are really interested in seeing an improvement, not seeing a Democratic or a Republican improvement, but just an improvement to the quality of life in this state and in this country. So anyway, I got a letter from these three people who are doing it, Mickey and Susan Booker and Mark Offerman. And I returned saying no for the in-crowd because they want me to put it, but, and you're perfect for this, I can keep my promise already. I promised that as a person, I would put it out everywhere that I could. A lot of people ask my opinion on politics and stuff, and I'm glad to share it. And in this case, my opinion is, without anybody being wrong or bad, Charlie Crist is the best person to be the governor of this state by a long shot. So I said, personally, I'll put this out everywhere that I possibly can. So when you send me a copy of this, I'm going to send it right to them and show how fast you've helped me act to keep my promise. Sure. Anyway, any way that I can personally help by talking to people. I've already been doing it because I believe before I got this letter from them, I already believe that Crist is the person that we should have as governor, and also that we've got to stop this wingnut that we have in there now that doesn't seem to want to do anything that's good for the people. What I can't understand is how do these people keep on getting elected? It's just, you know, an 83-year-old guy. I've lived through a whole different mindset in this country. You know, in my active life of social service, 60 years, we've been step by step, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, trying to live up to the principles of the Constitution and really give everybody a shot. And where that's happened with slaves, with women, with people who are held down, with Muslims. Every time people have a chance to get into this wonderful system that we've had, they contribute to the system. And I don't care if there's somebody that robs a bank I don't care what color their skin is, they're a bad person, but there's so many people who would, if you take slavery, be picking cotton now if we didn't change that system.
Yeah.
And not being able to realize that potential. And now we have Oprah Winfrey, and we have Obama, and we have all through every area of society, people who have a little darker skin, who are able to contribute as well as, or in so many ways, better than the people. These are people as a group. I hate to draw generalities. These are people as a group who have kept their senses with all the crap that the Black people have had to take from slavery till now. The loyalty to the country and the innate understanding of the principles that make this country great. I don't think there's a group that, I can't name a group that is more dedicated to the Constitution, to the country, to the opportunities, and more understanding of what it takes to hold on to that. So yeah, I want to stop this guy where he is, as well as getting a good governor in there who's going to care about the people.
We're going to disagree on this next subject, but this is a good segue to January 6th. Going to January 6th, I have a good friend that lives in Celebration, Florida, and he calls me up, and he's a Biden guy, and that's up to him. That's his problem, is what I say. But regardless of that, he talks about January 6th all the time. And I said, and his name is Lon, and he'll probably listen to this. And I told him, I said, Lon, I'm not worried about January 6th. January 6th is kind of a joke in my mind to me. There's people that should be arrested. They were arrested. And if anybody believes that President Trump is going to go to prison, they're in a total dream world by themselves. I'd love to go on the planet that they're on. Maybe they've smoked too much weed that day. I don't, maybe year, month, whatever it may be. I think that they're psycho, because January 6th is a waste of time. It happened a year ago. They're not going to solve anything. We're not looking at why January 6th happened. Why did it happen? Why did people vote for Donald J. Trump? Because they were desperate, because they voted for Democrats that didn't do a damn thing for them. And, they voted for, then these people vote for Joe Biden, and the rents are high, the gas is high, we have a war in Ukraine, the environment's going crazy. All these things are going on. So it all leads to, and just to go back into January 6th, is that, again, and I'll let you respond and shut the hell up now. It's that I think anybody that's worried about January 6th right now is in a dream world. People should be worried about the economy, jobs, coronavirus, monkeypox. They're way bigger issues than January 6th. If you give people health care, if you give people a good job where they can maybe get a vacation once in a while, if you give people housing so that they're not homeless, there will never be a January 6th ever again. But the Democrats don't want to do anything for the people, and we know that the Republicans aren't going to do anything for the people. So this is a joke that's been propped up by the Democratic establishment. Go ahead.
Dream world to Rob. Dream world to Rob. Come in. Come back to the planet.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So you're talking about complicated issues, and you're simplifying, and that's a good way to look at things. But you might want to just expand the limits of what you're saying, and I'm going to try to help with that. First of all, if we go back to Obama, Hillary, and Biden, we had in our history by far the three most qualified people to be president of the United States. And I mean qualified in every way. And I'm talking about Washington, Lincoln, and especially Truman, our heroes of this democracy, our presidential heroes of this democracy.
Can I just interrupt just for a second, just to come back at that, and then I'll be quiet. I think, and I voted for Obama twice. I think John McCain, even though I didn't like him, I didn't like his policies, was more qualified than President Obama. I do agree with you that Hillary Clinton was way more qualified than Donald J. Trump. for sure. Joe Biden was more qualified than Donald J. Trump too, but go ahead.
Now, of the points that you make, you say that we're going to disagree. I agree on a lot of points. Philosophically, Bernie Sanders is my man, but practically, and we've had this discussion, especially at that time, practically, he didn't have a chance of winning, and Biden did. I'm sorry, Hillary did. So if you want to be impractical and an idealist,
I disagree, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, look,
you'll never get me to say that Hillary was that Bernie would have lost to Trump as far as the 2016. But go ahead.
It's pretty simple.
Okay.
That the Republicans have people in this country frightened about communism. It's a red herring, stupid issue, but they've got people frightened. They're going to take away our guns, and they're going to take away our Bible, and we're going to be communists. They don't even know what a damn communist is.
I agree with that.
So, but they present themselves in simple, straightforward, repeated terms, and so they create a reality that's not a reality. If you put Bernie up there, he's a communist. There's no doubt about it. There's no defense about it.
But they called Obama the same stuff, though, Steve.
But I know, but they make cartoon caricatures. They are expert at this. This is what they did to Hillary in 1992. They made her a cartoon character, this brilliant woman who was so informed.
Yeah, but Hillary was not likable. You put Michelle Obama up there, she would win in a landslide against Biden, against Trump, whoever it is, because she is likable.
Wait until you put her up, because once I agree with you right now, that would make a lot of sense. But I don't know what's going to happen when you put her up and they find the soft underbelly and they start. I mean, with Michelle Obama, a soft underbelly will be racism, and they'll scare you and make you think that she's out there with an AR-14 and shooting people up. That's what they'll make you believe, because they'll just keep on saying it, and it's not the truth. It's not the truth that Hillary was anything that they made her out to be. So, but Bernie Sanders is like such a target. And we, in my opinion, I mean, we don't know, it's opinion, not fact.
Yeah, right.
But my strong opinion, we would have lost that election, and that would have been even a bigger disaster.
I mean, I'll end with this, and we'll move on to the next topic. I disagree. I think Bernie could have got a lot of those Trump voters. Remember, Bernie won Michigan, Wisconsin against Hillary. Hillary lost all those states. Those were those Midwest working class voters that Bernie Sanders could have got because of his issues. And They were voting for Bernie in droves. Bernie wouldn't have probably won Florida. I agree with you in that. Either did Hillary, either did Biden. Biden lost Florida way more than Hillary even did. He got crushed in Miami-Dade County because of the Cuban stuff down there. Actually, in the primary, Bernie did better than Biden in Miami-Dade County, which, I mean, who knows? I'm not saying.
But again, you're going by hindsight, and you can always analyze a lot better by hindsight than foresight. If he ran again, what I'm saying is he would have run a completely different campaign against Bernie, and Bernie would have been a sitting duck.
Are we talking about 2016 or 2020? Because there's differences there.
Well, what are we talking about?
I'm saying 2016, Bernie definitely would have won. I'm saying 2020, he had it would have been.
I'm talking about 2016. We're talking about 2016. We're on the same wavelength. I didn't know if you were talking about something else, but yeah, we're talking about our old argument that goes back. This discussion goes back to 2015,
yeah,
16.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's kind of a futile discussion because we have to look ahead.
Right, and I do want to look ahead, and I want to go to just back to the January 6th. Again, I'm not watching it. I don't care what goes on.
That's why I'm saying. Excuse me for interrupting.
Yeah, go ahead.
But that's the question. That's the thing you postulated, that January 6th is a waste of time, and I'm saying. I want to help you try to expand your mind a little bit. And you just made my point. You're not listening to it. You're
How
not
so?
listening to it. But the Republicans aren't listening to it. If you are
But
up to
Steve,
date
do
in
you
what
really
happened,
believe?
if
Hold on,
you're
Steve.
up to, hold on, let me
Yeah.
finish my thought.
Okay.
If you're up to date on what just happened this week and how brilliantly they're doing this and how different than anything ever before that they're doing, they went for Trump from minute one. They didn't go up the ladder. They said Trump is the source of this, and they've proven it. And what happened yesterday, as recently as yesterday, on Fox News, one of their people said that 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 this January 6th thing has changed, and Trump is going to be indicted.
Oh,
And
come on.
this is on Fox News. The other thing is that one of the former secretaries of state of Trump, no, attorney generals of Trump.
Yeah,
He was there
Bill
for a little
Barr.
while,
Yeah,
you
Bill
know.
Barr. Yeah.
No. I'm talking
No.
about one before him. That was the
Oh,
acting. Yeah,
Sessions.
horrible.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
I
Go
forget
ahead.
his name. He was
Yeah.
an asterisk in history, but he came out yesterday also, and he said, "I didn't think they had a chance." Exactly, you're parroting exactly what he said. I didn't think they had a chance, but after Tuesday, they're going to get him.
No, I don't. I won't believe that. I don't agree with that. Do you really believe that Trump got a Secret Service guy by the neck? Come
First of all,
on.
but that doesn't matter. That's the showmanship. That doesn't
That's right.
matter.
It's this
What
is
does matter is that he was pissed off that he couldn't go down with them. They got all kinds of evidence about that, and you'll hear more of it. But he was pissed because he wanted to lead this revolution. He thought he was Napoleon. He was going to go and lead this revolution, and he had these delusions of grandeur, and 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 that's the point that they're trying to make. And if you cut out the spaghetti against the wall, and if you cut the grabbing the guy by the neck, cut all of that out, he still wanted to go down there. There's tremendous proof of that. There's going to be more people testifying about that, and imagine what would have happened if he did what he wanted to do. He was leading a revolution. They had, do you know, because you're not watching it, I'll tell you something that's also proven apparent. Do you know that the group out there was heavily armed with guns and other weapons? Do you know that?
they were in the House in the Senate chambers. Why didn't they just start using their guns and stuff then?
Watch it. And I'm going to
Come
answer your question.
on.
No, don't close your mind, because your mind's going to stay narrow unless you expand it with facts. Don't be a Republican.
I
Expand it.
didn't vote for Trump. I didn't vote
I'm
for
not
him
saying
either
you did
time.
vote for Trump. All I'm saying is listen to what I have to say and then react to the facts. Don't say, "Oh, come on," because you don't believe it or don't want to
Because
believe
there's a
it.
lot of
Let me finish my
fantasy in
thought.
this.
You got to let me finish my thought and
Okay,
then
go ahead.
respond to the thought. Okay, this is factual. They have tapes. They played them at the last hearing of the FBI talking to each other and other police units talking to each other at the thing, saying, "There's a guy up on the tree. He's got a pistol in his holster. There's a guy located at this place in the crowd. He's got a AR-15." The reason that we didn't know about this before is because Trump said they had, and this is all proven. This is all absolutely fact. It's not opinion. So what he had was what they had was metal detectors.
Right. I heard about
So
that.
Trump said, and this is also, you hear it, him doing it. This is absolute fact. He said, "I don't take those metal detectors down." And they said, "But people have weapons. They're going to be right in front of you." He said, "They're not here to hurt me." So all of this stuff that's coming out now, that's new stuff, that proves, it absolutely proves, if you listen to it, you'll agree with me. If you just say nah and dismiss it.
No, I'm just saying, if you think somebody like Trump is going to go to jail, why did
I don't care about his going to jail. I care about that they're going to get him so he can't run again.
Okay, but let me ask
That's
you
what I
this.
care again, because it's so deeply obvious now, and they have more and more and more to come.
Who
He's got zero chance of not being punished, and I think he'll probably go to jail. He certainly deserves to go to jail. And even the public thing is shifting. It's now up to 40 some percent, say, including Republicans, of 40 some percent of this country is saying that he deserves to be prosecuted for this.
who who's worse? Who was the worst president for this country? George W. Bush or Donald J. Trump?
Well, I would say that they were both bad in their own way, and I would say that the worst one is Trump, because
Ah,
he was able to activate. Look, I wrote a column recently, and it's going to agree with you. So
okay.
this one you'll like. I wrote a column recently, and the column said that the worst person in the history of I nominated the worst person for the history of the world, and I said this person. The only competition she has is Eve, because she ate the apple. And you'll never guess who it is, but it's going to agree with you. The worst person that I nominated was Sandra Day O'Connor, who had a great career before and after. And she was more or less even-handed, even though she leaned heavily to the conservative side. She wasn't an ideologue. One thing that she did, she was the deciding vote
Bush v. Gore.
that pushed Bush in. And I say that that's the worst thing that ever happened to this country, because we have climate, we have international situation, we have so she was the person that caused that to happen, like Eve eating the apple in the Bible. So we can agree. So
I want to read that article when it comes out.
I'll send it to you. It's already published in the Sun.
Oh, okay.
I write every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know you write it weekly for the Sun Sentinel. Yeah. No, listen. George W. Bush is a war criminal, just as Dick Cheney is, and it makes me sick to my stomach that the Democratic Party, Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi, are hugging George W. Bush. Barack Obama's hugging, and they're joking around with George W. Bush. They're acting like the Cheneys are like God's gift to the world. These people are war criminals. These people should be in prison.
I have a roulette wheel, and it's got the different Republicans instead of numbers. And when I wake up in the morning, I spin the wheel to see who's the worst one today. The Cheney was on top a lot of times. He was an animal. But what's happened since? I mean, Bush moved it along. He didn't start it. It was started by Buckley and Ayn Rand, people decades and decades ago.
Sure.
But what Trump has done is he's taken all of their wet dreams and turned them into reality. And he just had no compunction, no conscience, no shame. And he's taken what they wanted, like abortion. Yeah. He took that and he made that happen. Now, when you say what's worse, somebody who wanted to have this and somebody who made it happen by the foulest of means and with his allies. He didn't do it alone. He did it with McConnell, and did it with so many allies. And the sixth, what's going to happen with the sixth, and I really beg you to get informed on this and to open up your mind, because it will open. You're an open-minded person. Right. Is that the cabal that did this, that the Ted Cruz and the Jim Jordans and people inside and outside of government, and the people who voted for them and will continue to vote for them, all of this craziness, it's absolutely in our frame of reference insane. But all these people followed Trump, and he's a cult leader because he was successful in getting the things done that they talked about, that they dreamed about, and never could get. So that's why I would say, and you have to give it some credit, even if you don't agree with it, that both of these guys were horror shows, and they were in two different steps of the ladder. And Bush was on a formative step, and Trump is on a step of doing it. But the step of doing it and bringing it in, he's affecting all these lives. He's murdering all these babies and women that are going to suffer from this. He's murdering our economy. How are they going to support these people, these kids that come into the world, not only unwanted, but without ability to care for them? I mean, it's just absolutely horrendous.
But I disagree that this is from Trump as far as the abortion issue. This goes back to Obama. Obama campaigned on this, said that it was the first thing he was going to do when he went into office and he had, remember, Obama had a supermajority in the House and the Senate. He could have did whatever he wanted. He didn't pass universal health care. He passed Obamacare. He didn't do anything on abortion. He said he was going to pass a bill to make sure that they were going to codify Roe, and he didn't do any of it. Joe Biden said the same thing in 2020. He was going to codify Roe. Joe Biden is useless. I mean, you're better off just having a chair there by itself.
Just think. Joe Biden is less controversial than Bernie Sanders. Would you agree to that? Forgetting good or bad.
No, I think he's worse.
No,
I think people hate Joe Biden more than they hate Bernie Sanders.
I'm saying controversial. In other words, people have stronger opinions about Bernie Sanders than they do about Joe Biden.
I disagree. I know a lot of people that hate Joe Biden. I was just talking to one of the guys in Florida I'm friends with. He voted for Joe Biden. He says, I don't know what's going on with this Joe Biden. He said, I'll never vote for the Democrats again. This is a Cuban guy, okay? These people that voted for Joe Biden, they're not going to vote for him again. They're not going to vote for Kamala Harris. They're not going to vote for Pete Buttigieg. And I know you're frustrated.
Kamala Harris is a disaster. That was his first big mistake, was picking her. And I said it when he did it. I said, why do you do that? Stacey Abrams is, to me, the person who could be president. And then in between, there's 7 of them that could be president. And he picked the bottom one on the rung.
But why are the Democrats always going to say we got to pick a gay person? We have to pick a black woman. We have to pick this, that. Just pick the best person for the time.
Yeah,
why do you have to commit? Like Joe Biden came out, we're going to put a black woman in the Supreme Court. That's fine and dandy. But why do you have to commit to all this stuff at first?
There's one word for that. It's called politics.
Right. Yeah. No, I hear you.
Don't be naive. That's the guy's president. He's got to do some political things. But the thing is, people love and hate politicians, and that changes, and it's flowing. That's why you
voted for Joe Biden, as did I. What is your opinion on him?
I think that Joe Biden is absolutely 100%. Potentially the best president we've ever had, but let me finish. Don't interrupt me this time. But what you're missing one important thing. That is that the headwinds against him it's not him. He's got the right policies, the policies that are for people. But we have Manchin, who is a 5th columnist to the nth degree, and Sinema, who can't figure her out. But the Democrats, you say he couldn't hold that coalition together. Jesus couldn't hold that coalition together. And
FDR could. Bernie Sanders, if he was president, again, I'm not saying. Hold on. I'm not saying that Bernie Sanders was going to get everything he wanted passed. That would be really naive. You just said naive. I'll say that again. All right. But I'm saying Bernie Sanders would have campaigned in West Virginia every day and went into Arizona every day. They would have ran primary challenges against these two people. They would have made sure they looked silly, even if they didn't get anything done. Joe Biden just throws his hands up and says, I don't know. I can't do anything.
Hillary Clinton went into West Virginia. When she was running for office, she went into West Virginia.
Yeah, and she said, we're going to get rid of all your jobs. What kind of politician
that's not
says
what
that?
She said. That's not what she said. You're believing the propaganda. What she said is, you're working in a dangerous industry. You're getting black lung. You're getting underpaid. And what we are going to do, we have a program, and what we're going to do is we're going to take you out of that industry. We're going to train you so you have better jobs, better pay, and a better working condition and better health. So that's what she went in with. And look, I have you met him actually. I had a very good friend who Watson introduced me to, who was the Secretary of State in West Virginia for 20 years.
Yeah, Heckler.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I know because Heckler was a friend. We were in constant communication, and he came down here every 4 or 5 years. I understand West Virginia politics. I also was in business where we did business throughout the country. The one state that I would not do business with was in West Virginia because they're crazy. They're crazy.
They voted Democrat in presidential elections up until 2000 when Al Gore lost the state, though. So that was a Democratic state. Remember, they had Democratic senators. Robert Byrd was there until 2008, until he died.
Right. Okay, but let me explain.
Rockefeller was a progressive.
Progressive Republican. But let me explain this to you. You're right. But see, again, you have to broaden what you're looking at in order to get to a most reasonable answer. The Democrats ruled the South. They were called Dixiecrats. The Dixiecrats were Republicans in Democratic clothes. I know you weren't alive in that time, but do you know about that history?
Yes.
Okay, so you can call him a Democrat, you could call Abe Lincoln a Republican, but Abe Lincoln was a Democrat.
Right.
And George Wallace was a Republican. And so putting the label on them is not really seeing what they had or what they were. So Byrd was most conservative, one of the most conservative people ever in Congress. Heckler wanted to take Byrd's job. Manchin, and he was running. You remember that?
Right. Yeah, I remember.
And Manchin came in. He was the governor, and he said, "I'm going to go for that." And Heckler not only bowed out because he couldn't fight against this very popular governor, but he also soon after that died.
Yeah.
In his wheelchair. Last time he came to lunch, he was in a wheelchair.
Yeah. Right. No, I remember. And I remember
his mind was fading.
Right. But my thing is, Steve, is again, going back to Biden. I agree. The policies are great. But there was more Democrats that voted against the minimum wage when that bill came up than Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema. Look it up in the books. Go on the YouTube. Go on Google. It was more. So the Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin might be taking the heat from the press. There might be the people that are out there. There's more Democrats than those two people that are voting against these progressive policies.
Biden, of course, but because there's two sides to the party, like there is in every group. There's two sides. But Biden could have kept everybody in line. There's no doubt about it. He did on almost every major issue. So, and they have to answer to their people at home who are more conservative in some states. So, but the thing that's hurt Biden is the thing that hurt Hillary in her quest, and the thing that hurt Obama, and that is basically McConnell, because his agenda was so straightforward and so out of the Ayn Rand book that he ended up being able to control his party. He's a great politician. He's not a great human being, and he was able to keep. And just a small example of this is that one from Maine.
Susan Collins.
Right. She's like so untethered that she went all the way on Gorsuch all the way up until the end, and then she didn't even need to vote for him because they had it without her. But she not only voted for him, but she endorsed him, and she said, "This man isn't lying to me."
And Kavanaugh too.
I meant Kavanaugh. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah, that's all right.
This man isn't lying to me, and she's so either gullible or she's a liar, which I'm voting for.
Could be a little bit of both.
Well, I think she's a lot of a liar. She's just John Kennedy, that Southern.
Yeah. He
that-
used to be a Democrat, by the way. I don't know if you knew that before.
Yeah. Well, whatever he is, he's a phony because he, puts on this air of a country lawyer. I'm surprised he even wears shoes, and he's he's just a phony. It's just a game. It's
He
just
thinks he's Andy Griffith in Matlock. Remember Matlock?
No, I never watched it. I know that
okay.
show.
Well, it came out in the 80s. It was Andy Griffith as a lawyer, but okay, never mind. I guess that joke fell flat. That's all right. We'll move forward.
That's all right. So anyway, all I'm asking, because you're concerned, you're bright, you're involved, all I'm asking is to just try to look at how complex these issues are. They're not just where you can throw your head back and laugh.
But you're a guy of history, Steve. And we've learned this in Dr. Watson's class. I'm sure you learned it outside of Dr. Watson's class. FDR, these guys didn't take no nonsense. LBJ would have grabbed Joe Manchin by the tie and put him up against the wall and said, you better vote for this crap or I'm going to knock your block off.
And Joe Manchin would have become a Republican.
That's fine. Let him become a Republican. Who cares?
It's not. Yeah, I care and you care. You know why you care? You know why you care? We'll agree on this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
And this is why I'm saying, get the facts before you say something.
Go ahead.
Joe Manchin becoming a Republican, instantly the whole Senate shifts.
They don't do anything anyway, though. They don't do anything.
Can you imagine if they had committee chairmanships? Now they're going to investigate Hillary. Jim Jordan is going to investigate Hillary in the House, and Ted Cruz in the Senate.
That's what's going to happen for the next 2 years anyway.
Well, if they win, which they have a very good chance, I think they're probably going to win.
Thank you for being honest.
No, remember, I'm not a Democrat.
We're being realistic here. I mean,
yeah,
cheap as crow.
I try to look at it as from Mars. So, and you think I am?
No, I'm just saying I'm fed up with I keep voting Democratic, and nothing happens.
I know, but we vote Republican and something happens.
I'm not going to vote Republican.
I know,
I'm
but something happens. What happens is what you don't want to happen. If the Democrats with Manchin working with the Republicans, if the Democrats are just holding back some of these things, it's what we need.
Manchin's going to run for governor in 2024. He's done. He's all done. He's going back to West Virginia.
He wants to run for president. All these people think they're going to be president.
I would vote for Joe Manchin for president over Biden, even though I don't agree with almost anything on him. I mean, maybe he'll at least get something done. I mean, these guys, I'm not voting for Joe Biden again.
What has Joe Manchin got done except stop every program that helps?
Well, he is the president right now. I call him President Manchin right now because he's running the show.
He's a very important cog in the wheel. He's on my wheel. He's, by the way, the only Democrat besides Terry Russo that's on my wheel.
Terry Russo. It's Terry Rizzo. Terry Rizzo.
Whatever. Yeah.
That's all right. It's an Italian name anyway, so who gives a shit?
It's not significant enough for me to remember her whole name.
But my thing is, we'll close it up on this, okay? Joe Manchin's the president right now. You just said it. He dictates of what happens in the Senate. Build back better, prescription drugs. He runs the show here. Joe Biden's not president, and I'm not voting for Joe Biden again. If he runs, I'm definitely not voting for Kamala Harris.
I don't think he's going to run unless things change. And by the way, Bernie Sanders is as big a detriment to moving ahead.
How?
No, I should say as big, but he's another detriment because the Republicans are simplistic. They can just say that communist Sanders wants everybody to be forgiven for their school.
No, they say it's AOC, not Bernie. They use AOC.
Well, AOC and Bernie and the other one, that girl up there in the wing. Even if somebody who's cleaning toilets in their office said defund the police, No
Yeah.
responsible Democrat has said defund the police, but somebody cleaning the toilet in Bernie's office said defund the police. And so they make it all the Democrats are saying defund.
Bernie never even said defund the police. What
That's
they
what I'm
need to do,
saying. That's what I'm saying.
right. What
Bernie
they need
never
to do
said
with
it.
the
They
police.
paint the cartoon characters and they make people believe by lies and repetition of the lies. You believe that Hillary is the stupid, not you, but people believe that Hillary is the dumbest person in the whole country.
I think Hillary's one of the smart. I think she's controlling the Democratic Party behind the scenes
Well,
right now.
I think she would have made a great president, and I think she's brilliant and she's connected and she understands and she's got common sense and she's got integrity to some degree for politicians.
I disagree with that. I voted for Hillary in 2008. I would have maybe thought she was okay then. In 2016, I voted for Hillary, but I was going back and forth whether I was going to vote for Trump or vote for Hillary. And honestly, I'm going to tell you this. I'm not joking. I'm dead serious. As Joe Biden would say, I'm deadly serious. If Joe Biden, Harris, or Buttigieg runs, I'm either going to vote third party or vote for Trump or whoever they put up there. I'm tired of this. You know what? If the Republicans have to burn the country down for us to get back to a better America, then you know what? Then maybe that's what has to be done.
Well, once the house is burned, think of what you lose. Think of what you lose.
I don't know what we're losing because we're not getting anything with Joe Biden. He passed the rescue plan, the infrastructure bill, and some joke of a gun bill, and that's about it.
Well, it's not a joke of a gun bill, but it's certainly not what we want. But
they didn't give any money to mental health. They gave it was $750 million, which is a joke.
Right. Well, if you look at what they actually do and the politics around what they do, you'll see that you have you'll never vote for Trump. I'll predict that because you're just saying it because you're frustrated. And your frustration is we all share it.
But we also have to look back on what happened. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, let's go into that quickly. Because she screwed the Democratic Party out of a Supreme Court.
She screwed the country. That heroine screwed the country.
Right. So no one talks about that. You know, she was good, but she didn't want to leave. We see that with.
I talk about it. I think that was a horrible thing.
Okay, well, we'll end on that because we only have a minute left, but I appreciate you coming on and doing this. And I know we're never going to agree on everything. That's America. That's life. If you agree with a politician or a person 100% of that time, you're either getting paid by them or you're under a psychosis. So we'll end on that. But I think we should do this more often. It's nice to go back and forth with somebody that's like-minded, but we do disagree. So maybe we could do this once a month on some issues.
You're the man. You're my man.
All right, Steve. We'll talk soon. I'll give you a call later on, and maybe we can schedule something for next month.
Very good.
All right, Steve. Catch you later. Thanks so much.
Thanks for the opportunity.
All right.